I got it on good faith that we gon' be major. Keep me a baddie, I don't know it's in my nature. Pushing up on me, cause you know I got the flavor. You ain't gotta ask twice, I'll give it to you. Kill 'em with the flavor, kill 'em with the flavor, ooh, kill 'em with the flavor, ooh, kill 'em, kill 'em with the flavor.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. And we're here once again. We're here on 910 Sports TV. First and foremost, I want to thank God for the opportunity, because without him, there'll be no us. You know what I mean? So if y'all actually see, this is season 5. Really been longer than that, but over the first couple of years, I really didn't break down the seasons like that. So it's probably like season 7, but we're gonna go with season 5. Episode 1 of our new season. Y'all see, we got a new logo, we got a new theme song, so we just got to do everything, or whatever. So for next, I want to introduce my man to my right of me right here. You know what I'm saying? One of the best coaches in the world, Coach Goins. What's going on, brother?
Hey, listen, man, it's always a pleasure to be on with Iconi and Jacob the Great. And just looking for another fantastic show. And we're locked and loaded and ready to roll.
Yes, sir. So we got my right hand man, your baby mama's favorite host. You got Barry White Jr. voice himself, Jacob the Great. What's going on, brother?
What up, man? Glad to be in the land of the living, man. But before we get started, man, I just need for LeBron and KD to cover up them ball spots. Y'all make millions of dollars and won't even cover up the ball spots, man. You get they got plenty of stuff, man. Man, you can go to the holistic doctor, or you can get some Rogaine, or you can go to my man Tom from Happy Days, because he be promoting that stuff. So
See, we just already. We ain't got to see this food that started already. Well, listen, this is powered by 18 Studios, also powered by InspireRadio.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at 95 South Network. So I'm gonna let Coach go on today to get started. I'm gonna let you jump in first, and I want you to pick a topic with something you want to talk about in the sports news.
All right, I appreciate that. Hey, but before we get locked and loaded, I just want to apologize for everybody tuning in tonight. Did get a call from Kenny Anderson early this afternoon, and he had to reschedule. I know we a lot of time and effort went into the promo, and said he was going to be on tonight, but he did reach out this morning and said there was a conflict that came up the last minute, so he had to defer. So just appreciate everybody dialing in, and thanks for everybody behind the scenes that did all the promo. But we're gonna be locked and loaded. Hey, so here's what I want to go into, right? So let's talk about the world of college basketball right now, and how valuable is conference tournaments, right? Is it something that is worthwhile? Is it something that you look at the Duke Carolina game tonight? Everybody was talking about, Wilson got hurt and went up, dunked and broke his hand. He could have done that in the Duke game tonight, but that game really doesn't mean anything because both of them have first round buys. So I guess the question on the table for Iconi and Jake the Great is there still value in playing conference tournaments?
You go ahead before you go first, Jacob.
um, is it value for the fans? Yeah, but is it value for the team? Maybe not. Is it value for the money that goes into the schools? Yeah, it's value in that because as the late great Bumpy Johnson would say, money always matter. So what I'm just saying, man. So any way they can make money in collegiate sports, they're gonna do that. Whether we like it or not. Just like Icon E would say that he don't even see why they have an NFL preseason. You know what I mean? But they still make money on the NFL preseason. So I think the collegiate conference tournaments matter, man. Because it's what the fans want. Is what has always happened, and so they they definitely not gonna change it because they got the NIL money going now. So that's just my take on it.
Well, I'm gonna say this, being that all three of us is what you would call ACC heads. when it comes to like watching, following the ACC probably more than any other conference in most of our lifetime, other than maybe like the Big East back in the day. Um, the ACC actually started tournament play back in the what 50s and 60s with State and a few teams, Carolina and South Carolina and a few other teams. I think it was with Clemson or somebody else. I can't remember, Maryland or somebody. So they started it way back. So to me, I feel like the excitement of it is still there. To be able just to see these can compete. And the thing about the ACC tournament is a lot. Well, all these tournaments, you never know what you're gonna get because the thing about it is you have a team to go undefeated or dominate their league the whole year, and then for some odd reason, when they get to their tournament, they find a way to lose it, and then some underdog team will come up and steal the tournament and get it, and sometimes make a run in the NCAA tournament. So I do feel like that the tournament play is still valuable to a certain degree, and it may not be as valuable when if they decide to go to 98 teams, which if they do is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. But if they decide to go to 98 teams, what I heard this past week, then that would make the tournaments less important.
I understand. So, all right. So here's my rebuttal on that. So why I would take a look at making the NIT, putting some juice back in there, and letting the mid majors, slide over to the NIT, and then you could expand some of the conference play. Because some teams may be on the bubble. Look at North Carolina State last year. To your point, Iconi, right? They had to win the conference championship to get to the tournament. Then they end up playing in the final four, right? So if the tournament is not, if it's not in play, those teams lose. But then when you got teams as strong as you do in the ACC or other conferences that get bumped because and again, not throwing any shade on Norfolk State, North Carolina A&T, you're allowing these guys to come in. But I would say put those guys in NIT, make that tournament all that it could be because there's money out there, there's sponsors out there to be able to really bring those guys along and let them play that. I don't want to say mid level, but put teams that maybe be on the bubble, slide them in, and I just think a robust team. But I do not support taking it larger than 64.
Well, this is what I would say. I would say this about the two things. One, I think that they need to force to like make the teams. If you don't make the NCAA tournament, you still if you chosen to go to the NIT, you need to compete. And then two, I don't think they should allow players, whether it's on the football college football side of thing with the bowl games or the NIT side, not to participate,
Mm,
especially these NIL players. You're getting paid all this money, and then you decide when it's time to play in these bowl games or the NIT tournament, whatever, that you don't want to play. So I just think that's just bad sportsmanship. I think it's bad for the sport to allow these players not to play in these games or whatever. If you're not, unless you're injured, other than that, then I think you need to participate in whatever extra games that come past that. You played all season long or whatever, but then you're gonna cheat the fans and cheat the sport by saying I'm not gonna play in the games that these conferences and stuff and the college programs put all this money behind to try to be a success. So yeah, I think they need to change that rule.
absolutely. Jacob, your thoughts?
My thoughts is, they do need to make NIT bigger, and like it's been a few teams from the Carolinas that make the tournament, like Furman University, like Coastal Carolina University, but you know, and then they run into somebody like Arizona or North Carolina, and it looks like the Tar Heels playing against the New Jersey Cracker Jacks, just like a low level team, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think that every team is on different terms. It's like when we had Michigan play against Cincinnati, and you know Michigan beat them, like they stole something, and I'm like, oh man, is this what they really did? So I just think the people on the boards really, really need to think about doing something other than what they're doing and thinking outside the box. So I would say that both of you guys have valid points. Both of you guys are right. And so with that being said, let's go to the next
Hold on,
topic.
hold on, hold on. Before you switch subjects, I want to piggyback on something you just said. So this week they was talking about the team of Ohio, supposedly maybe
Hmm.
going undefeated. I don't know if they won today or not, but if they had a chance to go undefeated in their regular season, and they were saying if they lost in the tournament, that they shouldn't be able to go to the NCAA tournament because the strength of schedule was 353 out of 354, 55 teams, whatever it is. And so, they was making a big argument on like the sports shows of if you go undefeated, you know what I'm saying, and you a Division One team, it doesn't matter who you play. At the end of the day, you went undefeated. So, or even if you lost one game, you still should have an opportunity to go. So it shouldn't be one of those things where, if anything, if they lost in a tournament, they still should get an at-large bid. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. If they lost in their tournament, like like in the finals or something like that, or whatever. So I'm like, I'm kind of the same way because if you think about it, was the Laurel Marymount wasn't they undefeated before Hank Gathers passed
Yep.
away
Yep.
back in the day, and that they was more considered like a mid-level, type of team. And if you know what I mean, and if that's the case, then he got hurt before the tournament, right? Like right before. I mean,
I
not hurt,
think
but
so.
he
Yeah.
passed away like right before
He.
the tournament.
Yep. Yep. Because Bo Kimball was shooting all the free throws left-handed in honor of him.
So
You're
yeah,
correct.
so if that's the case, then once he passed away, if most everybody know, okay, other than him and Bo Kimball, they ain't have nothing else, so they should have gotten the tournament. Then, if you're gonna look at it from that standpoint, so my thing, if you go through the year undefeated and you a Division One team, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you should have an opportunity, even if you lost one game. I think you should have an opportunity, especially if you lost in the tournament. In your conference tournament, you should have an opportunity to at least get in there and see what you can do, because you just never know who they might be.
It's no disrespect to Miami, Ohio, but that kind of seemed like a team that Uncle Luke and Baldy Thug Homely put together.
You know what? I can't with you today. I cannot
I
with
tell
you.
you,
You was on one.
I ain't messing around with Bumpy Johnson's
You
jump,
was on
messing around with Bumpy Johnson's wheel, man.
I know that's right. Frank Lucas Jr. over there.
That's him. That's the wheel man right there.
You must have watched Bubby Johnson today.
Yeah,
You
Hey
must have watched
man,
or he
Godfather
bought a
Harlem
new
today.
alpaca rug. That's probably what he did.
hey man, listen, listen,
They
listen,
got all the money.
listen, man. I'm just thinking, man. These teams, man. It just be like, what that team been at? Like I be watching basketball. See, I was out to the grass. I ain't never heard of that team, man. Like I'm like, and then you think they're gonna be like beat like a Duke or North Carolina or beat like a Alabama or Arizona or something like that. It doesn't make sense. You know what I
They
mean?
not, bro. You can't say they not. I mean, the
No,
tournament is known. That's the history of upsets in the tournament. I mean, the only thing with Miami, Ohio, you'll see them coming. They're not one of those teams that you wouldn't see coming, because if especially they walked in there undefeated, then everybody gonna be want to be that team to beat them. So they're not gonna sneak up on anybody in the tournament. That would be the thing. Mhm.
the most famous athlete that ever came out of Miami, Ohio, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh wow.
Wow, wow, wow,
And
wow.
You
that
say
wasn't the
basketball
hoops.
player.
Yeah, he didn't play basketball, so
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So what you
okay.
got, Jacob?
Um, you know, I got. Is it time for the older players to give it up and just give it to the young people? What do y'all think? We talking about the LeBrons and the KDs and even the Stephs and James Harden and people like Paul George is always hurt. He got a hangnail and he out for 8 weeks. So people like that, man. Um, so do you think it's time for them to give it up and pass the torch to like Shea and Anthony Edwards and some of these other young players that's really getting off right now? You know what I mean?
Go ahead, coach.
I'm gonna go ahead and ride with the wheel man on this one, and my answer to that is absolutely right. But here's I think the underlying problem is there is no face of the league, right? So Jason Tatum just made his debut back. We know what's going on in Memphis. Ja's not the guy. Anthony Edwards is not the guy. So who has the keys, right? Who are you going to lead? How do you pass that torch, when it's been carried so well by the LeBrons, the KDs? And I'm like you, Jacob, man, and these dudes making millions of dollars, man. I mean, KD's been doing it forever. Get some, get some Afro Sheen or get something. I mean, it's just like cut it all off, do something, right? I've never understood that since he's been in the league. But however, let me get back on topic. But I think that's the problem. We may not know this, but I'm just gonna say, is the league asking these guys to hang out a little bit longer? But yeah, they are long in the tooth. It's time to pack it in and roll out. And on that same note, when they do all that, they need to change the logo in the NBA. So I'll kick it over to Icon E.
I agree, but I said 2 years ago LeBron need to retire because he's nothing else he can do to prove people right or wrong, indifferent, whatever. Whatever you feel about him, you're gonna feel about him. Whatever his
Exactly.
legacy is his legacy is what it is. So at the end of the day, I feel like, and I know they said he had a conversation yesterday because he got hurt in the game against Denver at the end, and there's always gonna come up the question of when it's gonna be it for him. And I just don't want him to look like Vince Carter or look like, what I'm saying, Dwayne Wade and look like some of these other players, Shaq and Kobe and Chuck and all them at the end. You know what I mean? Where they look the shell of them former selves. I don't want him to look like that in the end. So I think this should be his last year. But if not, then go ahead and do your retirement tour. You know what I'm saying? Next year, either if you go back to Cleveland and do it there, and then ride out the sunset. And as far as like the rest of them, Joel Embiid should have been retired. He not an all resume. He should have been retired. Paul George, he been injured since he broke his leg in the Olympics. He just stayed hurt, and then so I mean, and with Kawhi Leonard, we know it's just a matter of time. He playing good now, but it's just a matter of time for his knee swell up or something, kneecap fall off or something off of him or something before he just be out for the season. I don't know. Like he dropped his kneecap just fall off in the game. He pick it up and walk to the sideline. Okay, coach, put it. Okay, trainers, put it back on for me. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like, and it's Steph, one of those things where instead let Steph go somewhere else, which I don't think he wants to. He probably needs to retire too, because Golden State is not going to do anything to help him, and he's just
No.
going to carry a team at an older age that's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless they somehow get Giannis, but I don't even know if Giannis with that team would be enough to get them back over the hump or whatever. So I just feel like at the end of the day, all the old dogs need to walk away so they can kind of try to figure out who's going to be the face of the NBA or whatever. It may be Wemby. Because this what kind of threw me off. I'm watching the game last night, and they came from 25 down. And I said, you'll never hear a player in any era say this, in the old era, say, well, we played last night, I played 38 minutes, and I was tired in the first quarter. He was literally, after they won the game, literally almost like in tears. He was like, because I was so tired in the first quarter because we played last night. What? You know what I'm saying? It's bro, nah, you can't be the face of the league saying something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say this before we jump over back to something else. Kudos to Jason Tatum. And I'm saying the reason why I'm saying it right here, right now, because you wasn't a Rams coach a couple of years ago. So a couple of years ago, I was getting in little arguments with people online when Jaylen Brown had that magnificent run in the tournament. And I said that if Jason Tatum was a top 5 player, then you can't be the second best player on your team in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, he's putting up 30 and 10. I said, if you watch the games, most of the time, most of the points and the damage that Jason Tatum was doing was early in the games, the first and third, second, third quarters. In the fourth quarters, it was Drew Holiday, it was Jaylen Brown, it was other people that was making the big shots. But people thought I was hating on Jason Tatum. So I'm going to say today that I am so happy for this young man because I never hate him. I just didn't think he was a top 5 player. Top 10, yes. Top 5, no. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to say it, it got proven in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a top 5 player, no top 5 player would have ever got benched in the Olympics. And I never wouldn't have got on the court. That's not going to ever happen. So I'm just going to say, but I'm happy for the young man that he fought his way back or whatever. We could say that, he did it too early or whatever the case. So I'm hoping that don't something happen and he re-injure himself. But I'm happy for him because he looked pretty good last night. He looked damn good. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So, next
Well,
topic.
well,
Go
well,
ahead, Jay.
Icon, when you talk in the face of the league, man. So, in order to have somebody to be face of the league, um, they can't be foreign and just speak bad English. Like every time I see Giannis do an interview, I feel like he's running to be the president for the king of the moon or something. No, like you can beat the ball and I the 35, 12, and 20 rebounds. I'm the guy. No, bro, we don't understand what you're saying, bro. Like, no, man. Like
Well,
we didn't grow up in the dangerous forest, you know, riding cheetahs and racing rabbits. So, Giannis, we don't understand nothing that you're talking about, man.
He said, he said
okay.
he didn't say chasing cheetahs and running
Yeah,
rabbits, did
and so we on that point, boy. We're gonna go to another topic. So let's talk about the NFL free agency coming up,
you?
and there's some big names out there. We got Kenneth Walker. We got Trey Henderson. We got a few names, So, in y'all opinion, what do y'all think some of these players should go, or what do y'all think they should go, or are they going to go?
I'll jump in. I see that they're going to release Geno. They're talking, a couple quarterbacks. Was Kyler from Arizona. I always thought he was a little bit a project. I thought he might have been, Mighty Mouse. I don't think you're not going to win with him. We having problems in the Steel City. We just released one of the tight ends. I guess Aaron Rodgers is coming back for season 52. It's like a bad dream. We got so much money tied up in DJ Metcalf. I mean, it's a lot of money. Same thing with Watt, right? I was in a conversation with a Steeler guy this week. How much, to me, Watt hadn't had a good year. And then and the Steelers are notorious for hanging on to players too long before they move. But I see the Cowboys is putting a franchise tag on Pickens. So it's just it is such again, I don't want to get on my soapbox when we start talking about the NFL, but it is so wide. So many teams needs guys, and guys want to come in as prima donnas versus coming in and saying, okay, you know what? Let me come to this team and give it my all, and let me get in here and do what I need to do to try to help win, and not try to just beat a guy all the time. Sometimes guys come in, and it's time that I got to realize that I need to be the second guy, not the prime guy.
Jacob.
Well,
Jacob.
in free agency, I'm hoping that the Cowboys tighten their defense up. I know, I know Jerry's always over the cap space, but I hope he 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 get George Bush on the phone and borrow some money and trade for some oil or something, so we can get somebody there on the defense, man. Because our defense was horrific last year, bro. It looked horrible. So I don't know, man. It's some names out there, Max Crosby and Trey, and then on the opposite end, I think that Walker could be going to the Commanders, and I think the receiver that came from the Saints that won the championship with the Seahawks could be going to
Mhm.
the Commanders, and I think the Commanders going to kind of surprise people of some landing spots of some great athletes that they're going to get, but you never know with Jerry, man. Jerry is a whole so proper. So that is Cowboys fans. We just be like, what is Jerry gonna do next? Jerry is the Donald Trump of the NFL.
Well, the thing about it, though, Jacob, Jerry Jones is so much size now because he restructured Dak Prescott, he restructured CeeDee Lamb, and he restructured somebody else. He restructured like 3 or 4 contracts. So they was able to save a lot of money in the salary cap by restructuring those three of their top paid players. So anytime a team restructures contracts, that usually means that they're trying to go out there and grab a couple of big fish. So whether it's going to be Trey Hitchison or somebody else, or a plethora of players to kind of fill some holes, it look like they might actually maybe do that. And as far as Washington is concerned, we got to get younger. So because we was like the AARP of the league last year. So it was ridiculous. We was the oldest team in the league. How we go from one of the youngest teams in the league to make the playoffs to the oldest team? I don't know what Adam Peters was doing. You know what I mean? I understand you thought we was right there. You was trying to get a few pieces to kind of maybe get us over the hump to get back to the NFC Championship game and possibly the Super Bowl. But he went overboard with it. He just said, you know what? He might well just went back and got Art Monk and Gary Clark and John Riggins. He might well have got it out if you're gonna do that. You know what I mean? So, but I'm curious to see how it's gonna go. I've seen rumors where we might get Kenneth Walker, because we haven't had like a stable running back. I mean, we've had some decent ones, but we haven't had that real thoroughbred in a minute. I think Kenneth Walker would help stabilize us in the backfield when it comes to having a true somebody that somebody can put fear in you. So when Jay Daniels is not scrambling, you still got somebody in the backfield that'll put fear in you. And then if we got somebody on the other side of Terry McLaurin, we definitely need a Shaheed because we need somebody to keep the other side honest. Because you could have double team McLaurin, and then you just got whoever you got, me, Jacob, and Coach Goins on the other side. You know what I mean? So we definitely, and then tight end wise, I know we talked about getting Pitts, but I think they put the franchise on him, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we might try to go get it was another tight end. Who was it? I forgot the other tight end we was talking about. No, we talking about somebody in JUCO, but I don't know in JUCO. I don't know. I don't think he got the same African blood as the rest of them because he stay hurt. I ain't never seen no African stay hurt that much. You know what I'm saying? Out there in Cleveland, that jumper stay hurt. But God, you know what I'm saying? He like the AD, the Anthony Davis of the NFL. Like, bro, he like Joel Embiid. I don't know what the hell Joel Embiid and JUCO be drinking or whatever, because they have some stomach illness or something wrong with one of their legs, their limbs. So I don't know what they be doing. You know what I mean? Whatever.
I'm sorry, Mr. Icon. When I was small, I fall off elephant plenty times.
Well, they need to. I don't know what they got going on, but whatever Joel Embiid and JUCO drinking or eating or whatever part of Africa they from, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I know one thing. The way he be falling on that floor, I hope he won't falling in the jungle. Like, I mean, that dude will fall down. You look at that dude wrong, he'll fall down. I'm like, man, it's like his balance is off. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a same thing. I think you said a couple of weeks back, Connie, is just like when Anthony Davis was at the Pelican. I mean, is it the training staff? What I mean, this is it's constantly, right? Everybody that goes through New Orleans, between him and then what's my man came from
Zion.
Duke? Zion. Yeah, I'm just like
Brandon Ingram. He used to stay hurt all the
right. It's
time.
just like Jacob the Great. I mean, everybody that came through daggone New Orleans, man, it was just like they come up and
All
they
the big
hobbling.
games. Look what it is. Too many big games.
So I would say this about the city of New Orleans. That shit ain't for the weak. And so if you gonna stay focused. But if you're not, and you hang out in that French Quarter, oh
You're
boy,
done.
boy, 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 boy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can see what happened to Ricky Williams when he was out there. Boy, this year, that's a whole nother story.
Hey, didn't they say Sean Payton used to cut up out there too on the low?
Yeah, man. Son Payne, Urban Meyer, man, they called them the script club brothers.
Mm-hmm. That's why Sean Payton like he about 87 years old now. You know that party he did.
I tell you what, that's a different place than on the planet, dude.
Well, okay, Coach, you got another topic for us? Your turn.
Yeah, man. So what about the college basketball on the women's side? What a heck of a game today in reference to LSU and South Carolina. Just you look at Fawali, she balled out, finished with 24, but it wasn't enough. This was, I think, number 18th win for South Carolina over LSU. I think part of the problem LSU and Coach Moka is they just don't have a legit big. and they got some internal problems because today they were like right at the end of the half, they were fussing and they get over in the huddle. And then, assistant coach was, trying to talk to a few players, and one of the players pushed the assistant coach. And I was just like, whoa, man. I said, and I know it's during the game time, but LSU is there. I think there's a lot of lacking, but South Carolina looked well. And again, my thing, I thought they looked well because it was is a neutral site, if you want to call Greenville neutral, from Columbia. But South Carolina, and I think Texas will win this one tonight. So, what's your take on the whole SEC on the women's platform?
Well, I jump in for you do on Jacob for this Jacob because I don't follow college basketball, women's college basketball as much as y'all do, but I will say this about Moki, Coach Moki. The reason why, because you think about this, almost happens every year with her program, where it's one of these blow ups on the sidelines with her players or one of her assistants. She either cussing one of her assistants out, one of her players is getting into it. And when you got a volatile personality like she does, what they say, your team takes on the personality of you.
Mm,
So I think that's a lot of what it is with her is that she has that old school thing of I can get in your face and yell at you. And it's funny because me and Jacob was talking about this earlier. Was it me and Jacob? Me and Jason. I think it was me and my brother was talking about this earlier. And I said the thing about it is that the new players, the what they call them YNs, they don't want old school coaches. They don't want to be coach hard. They don't want to be yelled at. So that's why Nick Saban and like we talk about Bill Belichick, how he can't get a good recruiting class at Carolina because nobody wants to go there and coach by nobody that's 110 years old and set in their ways. Them players don't want to go for that. They want to have a coach. Yeah, they don't mind a coach that's that keeps things in line and pushes them to a certain degree. But they also want a coach that they can relate to, a coach that let them have a little bit of fun and all that kind of stuff too. They don't want just no hard nosed coach. And I just think at the end of the day, Moki has that personality of, you know what I'm saying? Like so when she comes at people all the time, eventually it's gonna backfire on her. And I think that's just where it is with her sometimes. You know. Go ahead, Jacob.
Well, if Kim would coach instead of trying to buy the Blazers like she a part of Mars Day in the time, she wouldn't have all that extracurricular activity on the sideline. You know what I mean? Every time you see her, man, she got a shiny suit like she on tour with Mars Day at the time. Like I thought she was even gonna come out the background and start playing Holly Rock. You know what I mean? Like coach these girls, man, and Fly J was so frustrated, man. With the team. You know what I mean? To she couldn't even play, man. So I just think what I seen today. And like you said, I think this happens to them. And then they'll come back in the tournament and they'll just be running through everybody. You know what I mean? So, but they are missing a big because you can't go from a big like Angel Reese to not having one at all. You just
Mhm.
can't do that, man. You just can't do that, man. So, and then
And then they
even
going
though
against the GOAT too, Jacob. They going against the GOAT. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Don Staley is
absolutely.
oh
the
no
GOAT.
no no she's not no go, bro. No
Oh, uh-oh.
she's no she not. No
I
she
didn't even know
not.
that about her.
No, bro. She's won 3 titles. When she can win like Pat Summit repeatedly, then we can call her the GOAT.
I
I
mean,
ain't
I
gonna
don't mean it in
It's
that. I
put up
don't
for to
mean it in
call her the
that
GOAT yet.
knowledge. I don't mean that. I don't mean it like a LeBron and Jordan argument type GOAT. I just mean get she the GOAT when it comes to right now. Like she top dog. Like ain't nobody better than her in the game right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
she is. But I'm gonna tell you this right here, and mark my word, I said it. Excuse my French. Connecticut will beat the dog mess out of South Carolina. The dog mess.
And then
Nobody
they
is
might. I
beating
mean, then they win last
nobody.
year. Who won last year?
Yeah, yeah,
Connecticut, right?
yeah. Nobody gonna beat that Connecticut girls team, bro. I can Connecticut remind you of when Carolina had 15 players, and this starting five would kill you, this starting five would kill you, and this starting five would kill you. That's what the
Yeah.
Connecticut girls remind you of. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
On
Yeah.
any given time, when a sub can come in there and give you a hot 20 off the bench. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let me ask you this question: since you follow South Carolina ball a lot, women's ball a lot. I know Gino Auriemma, he's really the GOAT, though. He's the overall best coach that ever played and coached the game. But I'm trying to say this the right way. Because his recruiting, because he's like that, he's like Alabama at this point. Alabama's a well-oiled machine. Before NIL, Alabama was getting any and everybody. They even a second or third team could start on other teams. That's how good Alabama was. So is a lot of it comes from the fact that he gets all the best players every single year that makes him that great because is it more recruiting than just coaching with him, or is he just that good of a coach?
I think it's both when it comes to Gino, and I think he recruits well, and he's a great coach, and he's a tough nosed coach. Like Don Staley is a tough nosed coach. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She probably the toughest, one of the toughest female coaches that we've seen since Pat Summit. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
so so I would say when it when it comes to like that the LSU franchise, man. I think that like people got to understand that you need bigs, man. You need like everybody that went to the way of the 3-point ball, but while the person out there shooting three, you need somebody to get offensive boards. You need somebody to get defensive boards. You need somebody to block shots, and you need somebody to deflect the traffic where they know they can't slash to the board because they know that big is going to block the shot, or or they big is going to create a whole thing down there where it's going to mess up the rhythm of the offense. And so that's what Kim is missing. But as far as them Connecticut girls, man, Connecticut, Texas, and South Carolina would be the three that I would say to look out for. But I will say this: the way I seen Ole Miss upset Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt was number 2 in the country, and they got the Player of the Year. Like, don't sleep on Ole Miss, but I think Vanderbilt that might have been a learning lesson for them. I think they'll come back into the tournament and play a lot more harder than they did. But the top three teams that I see is Connecticut, South Carolina, and Texas.
So, coach, what's the average size of a female big? About 6'8"?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think when you look at both programs, they recruit two different style of players. The girls that's at UConn, they look UConnish. The girls of South Carolina, they kind of fit the Dawn Staley mold. And again, and then when I mean, excuse me, Jacob is exactly right. When you look at the three teams he called, I'll also go ahead and throw in UCLA. That'll be your final. If somebody comes up and knocks one of them off, I'll be shocked. But I think the final four should be UCLA, UConn, South Carolina, and then Texas. But yesterday's game, Ole Miss came out. I mean, it was over at halftime. I think it was 49 to 50 to 17 at halftime, and then Shay
Yeah,
Ralph, who's going to be Gino's replacement at UConn. She played at Terry Sanford High School in Fayetteville when I was at Pinecrest. So I saw her play in high school, and she was all that in the bag of chips. But yesterday she lost it totally, and I'm surprised that there's not a heavy fine. This man, and again, don't know if Vanderbilt's going to fine her for what she did, what she said, to get ejected. But watching that video and saying, I'm like, wow. I mean, it was a call made, and by the time they turned around, she's in the lane and she just cusses the referee out, and you can hear it all on the mic, and they send her to the locker room. So, but again, I mean, and then here's the thing, and then they talk about passion, right? So if the wrong coach makes that move, if Don Staley does that, I think it's a different narrative. But Jacob's right, the goat without a doubt, and so is Iconi is definitely Gino. But in that, I think they recruit two different style of players, and they fit their system. Because Fuwali, of course, she left South Carolina, went to LSU just because of the bag. But she doesn't complement that team as well as she could South Carolina, just because they don't have that inside game. Because when and the same thing with South Carolina, and the only way South Carolina can win the national championship, their bigs have got to score. They miss too many. They miss too many in the paint buckets. They can be the subpar team. They can be the decent team, but they can't be the great team when they just miss so many inside buckets.
Well, let me ask you a
Now
question,
you're right.
Coach. Hold on, Jacob. I want to ask Coach this question, and well, both of y'all can answer this question, but I want it from a coach's perspective. I was watching the Knicks game the other. I know it's kind of off topic a little bit. I was watching the Knicks game the other day. I forgot who they was playing. I think Denver or somebody. And Mike Brown got a tech, and they said it was his first tech of the year. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on, y'all almost played 60 games, and your coach only got his first tech of the year. And to me, that's kind of a red flag. To me, because I just feel like that shows lack of passion. Because it got to be moments during the game where at some point your coach, whether he's trying to motivate you, maybe the referees did get a bad call. Some reason or another, a coach should always have at least 4 or 5 picks a season. You shouldn't go 60 games in before you get your first pick. I just that's something that just bothered me. What you think about that?
Well, I think a lot of it could be the relationship with the referee. I coach. Matter of fact, I never in my entire basketball, whether I coach high school, travel, and also AU, I never got a tech in basketball ever. Now I did get it when I coached high school football. I did get a 15-yard penalty during the game, but in that basketball, I never got a tech. And again, not to say it's not right, but I think you got to be able to know how to talk to the official. And then if once the officials, I mean, there's time. All right, say if you made a call, I'm over there, dude. I am in your mess, right? And then you're gonna look at me and say, Coach, that's enough. Okay, then guess what? Then I got it. I got to take that, and then if I cross that line, then he's gonna pop you, right? But then if the bench gets one, then and then, so I think it's a lot of times it's the relationship you have with. Look at Coach K. I've been at basketball games. Oh my God, I can't even count them. The number of times I've been behind the Duke bench, and I've heard Coach Mike Krzyzewski cuss these dudes out just like he's a sailor on the high seas. And
Mm.
Roger Ayers, who's from Roanoke, Virginia, who was calling the Carolina Duke game tonight, I've seen him stand there and cuss Roger out like a dog. And Roger turn around and look at Mike Krzyzewski and say, Mike, I love you, and just run down the floor. So a lot of times,
Mm.
referees, they got their favorites. Then they may let you run a little bit and may kind of harness Jacob. So it's all about, and just, you look at Jimmy Boeheim. Jimmy Boeheim throws his blazer off and he gets a technical foul, right? And he gets ejected. I understand that. But Mike Krzyzewski, the things that he was able to get away with because he was the GOAT in college basketball, it's unheard of. But yeah, I think a lot of times, it's just down the relationship, and they'll let some coaches get away with it, and some coaches got a short leash.
Mm. Okay. You got one more thing you got to say, Jacob, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. So I think that Mike is not that type of coach that loses. I think Mike is a very calm coach. Um,
Yep,
I think his passion is different. His passion is his relationship with these players. So he's not going to let the referee rather get him out of his character because he feel like character reflects leadership, and so that's going to make him look bad. And so I think he takes it all in stride, and I think he's the type of person that'll pull them to the side, after the game and kind of have a conversation with them to kind of build that relationship. So, they'll kind of know what type of person he is. And so I think that he's not, cause some coaches I've seen, whether it's little league, AAU, high school, collegiate, pro, I just really think they just be taking appeals that's named Snapitis. They just be ready to snap on the referees no matter what. You know what I mean? Just no matter what.
See,
Like
that's
can
true. That's right.
well, let me
and
say this. Let me say this. Only way I'm gonna push back on both of what y'all saying is because after the game, matter of fact, he was playing against Oklahoma City. After the game, he complains in the press conference about Shea getting calls and he knows how to get calls. And everybody the next day was saying, well, it was kind of the wrong timing because it wasn't one of those games where Shea had a bunch of free throws or whatever. So my thinking is, you're gonna go and complain in front of the press about a player getting a superstar, or whatever, getting a call. But my thing is, I'm not saying you got to go off and be belligerent and disrespectful every time. But what I'm saying is, it's moments throughout the season where either trying to either motivate your team or just letting them know, referees, I see what you're doing. Stop what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they are human, but at the same time, like you said, they got their favorites. So at the end of the day, we need to establish something now. The thing about it, when we knew about Phil Jackson was very intellectual the way he used to do stuff. Whether he would do it in the press or do it in the game to say different stuff to get his calls for Michael Jordan or get his call for Kobe or whoever. He used to do certain things psychologically to try to get his players the calls that he wanted them to get. So I just think Mike Brown, at some point, you have to get that one or two tech throughout the season. This to show that you're not, because I just feel like too, the referees know, Mike, he nice. So we just gonna if he do say something, we just gonna run on down the court like he ain't said nothing, one end out the other. But if you like the Coach K or you like some of the other ones, even Roy could get a little hot, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Then I feel like at times you got to get that one or two takes just to kind of set the tone for a game before a season. That's my only thing.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
I mean,
mean?
and you're spot on with that. And here's the thing: I used to say, because I've been on both sides. I've also called high school basketball, and I used to tell the coaches on the pregame, "Hey, listen, we're not going to say anything to your players if they miss a shot. Don't say nothing to my crew if we miss a call, right? Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
out there to coach my team. I'm not out there because guess what? Whether it's a block charge, I'm going to agree or disagree. And if I like Jacobs, if that turns my attention, then I'm not coaching my team. I'm worried about what the referee's gonna do. I can't worry about
Mm-hmm.
them three. I got to worry about what my guys are doing. And a lot of times when coaches, and most of the time, again, I'm not taking up for Mike Brown, but most coaches that have a subpar team, first thing they're doing is they're working the referees. No, your team, you got to worry about what your team. You worry about your X's and O's, and don't worry about what they, because they're gonna call walks, they're gonna call fouls. You're not gonna agree with it. But if that ends up pulling a lot of my time, and I put my focus, you're really not coaching.
Okay. All right. Well, fellas, another great night. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go the way we thought it was gonna go, but hey, it is what it is. That's the nature of this
Absolutely,
business. You know what I mean? It
absolutely.
happens to the best of them in the media game, in the media space. So, we like I said, one monkey don't stop no show, and we just keep it moving and do our thing regardless. So, I appreciate everybody coming on here tonight, and everybody out there in social media land. Please support us. You know what I mean? And continue to follow us so we can continue to build this platform. Because be honest with you, we're doing it for y'all. We're doing it for your kids, your nephews, your nieces. That's what this platform was all about at the end of the day. So, continue to support us and so we can continue to help y'all and help the community build this youth back up the way they need to be. So
Absolutely.
God bless everybody and y'all have a blessed and wonderful night. See y'all
Have a
next
great
time.
one. Talk to
All
you.
right, peace and blessings.